And that's where we find Mike Tobin tonight, where it is about 12:35 a.m. Mike?
Well, Sean, the people in Mariupol and Volnovakha are in for another rough night. This, and as you mentioned, the attempt at a humanitarian ceasefire has now fallen apart for the second time and fallen apart under Russian artillery. The people in these towns have been without food, without water, without power, roughly for 6 days as Russian attempts to encircle these particular towns, even as buses are waiting for them in the town of Zaporizhia, very near the nuclear facility that is now controlled by the Russian forces. These attempts at ceasefires are all that have come out of these meetings with the Russian and Ukrainian delegations that have been meeting in Belarus, and they have fallen apart twice now. Cruise missiles were spotted in the sky and videotaped in the sky over Ukraine, as the foreign minister, Dmytro Kuleba, says 8 Russian cruise missiles hit an airport in the center of the country, and that airport was taken out, according to President Volodymyr Zelensky. This was both a civilian and military facility. And you talk about the estimation of the civilian deaths at 364. You have to look around the country. You look at all of the destruction and the video you have seen of destruction to civilian structures like apartment buildings. And then you think about the places where we can't get in, like Kharkiv, like Mariupol. And you have to believe that that's a preliminary number, and anticipate when we start getting official tallies that the numbers will be dramatically different, and unfortunately, they'll be dramatically worse. Guys?
Yeah, so Mike, I mean, what's the Russian angle here, not allowing citizens, children and women and the elderly to not get out of Mariupol and other cities? I mean, is this to demoralize the Ukrainians? What is the Russian angle not letting people flee?
Well, you would have to look at it from that standpoint if it's about demoralization. But usually the way these ceasefires fall apart is that whenever there is a ceasefire, both sides will take an opportunity to reposition and resupply. So if that is your enemy, you see your enemy repositioning or getting something that may give them the advantage that they're going to use to try to kill you, well, then you start firing again. And that's usually what makes these ceasefires fall apart.
Mike, talk about the resiliency and the strength of the Ukrainian people that you're seeing every day.
Well, it really is all hands on deck. When you talk to the Ukrainian people, they say they believe that they will repel the Russian invaders. Sometimes they'll use the word occupiers. And you see the ways they are pitching in. Anyone who can do anything. We met with people who made steel fences. Well, they called on their neighbors to give them all the scrap metal they could get, and they started making roadblocks. The big hedgehog barriers, and also they start making jacks that they can put in the street, something that would stop advancing Russian armor or advancing Russian vehicles. They're making Molotov cocktails. They're making camo netting. All of that's being shipped up to the fighting in Kiev. Everyone is in. It's all hands on deck, and tremendous resolve that really is unbowed despite these dramatic civilian casualties.
Mike, this is Joey. I have a question for you. It's a little bit off this topic, but very germane to where you are. We talk about these fighter jets coming in potentially from Poland. I know there isn't a huge Russian military presence where you are. Do you see Ukrainian Air Force planes leaving from that city? Are there air bases in the western portion of the state that are accessible and usable if new jets come in?
Well, there were 2 air facilities that were hit out here to the north and south of Lviv. There's also a base that is just to the east of this location where there was an attempt, at least according to the mayor of this town, there was an attempt by Russian paratroopers to insert on helicopters, and they were repelled by Ukrainian fighters. But when you look at the particulars of that one, there's a very real possibility that the Russian paratroopers came in on the helicopters. They did what they intended to do, such as possibly marking that airfield as a target, and they got back on the aircraft and left. Because they came in with a force of only 60 people, and that's not the kind of thing you would do for a major troop insertion. You'd know that pretty well.
Yeah.
Joey.
Hey, Mike, it's Alicia. Just a quick question here. Given that Lviv is a touch point for so many people who are trying to flee the country, how is Lviv handling that when you have hundreds of thousands of people traveling through trying to get to the border?
Well, in the center of town, it does look a little bit like business as usual. You'll see a lot of sandbags around important buildings where the police are located. There's a military base in town, things to that effect. But when you get to the area of the train station, that's where the numbers are really getting overwhelmed. The flow from the train coming from Kiev, they leave as soon as it's full. No one has a ticket. They just get on the train as soon as the passenger cars are full. That train comes in this direction. The problem is only 4 trains a day leave for Poland. So you get a lot of people who are piling up around the area of the train station. And it's cold out here. You've got to feed them. You try to get some kind of roof over their heads. That's where you have a bit of a humanitarian situation piling up here in Lviv.
Okay, thanks.
Well, Mike, thank you for that report. And please stay safe. We want you to come home.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.